Javaid. He has worked in private sector for many years now in event management, telecommunication, entertainment, and education. He was introduced to Agile in 2009. He has been teaching in university level since 2003. So he pretty much combined the two, and now working on how Agile can be taught in universities. I will let you start.
Thank you so much. I felt like I'm in my classroom and I had to connect the laptop to this cable and horn. This is how we start the lectures in the UAE University. You have to bring your laptops and connect with this cable and HDMI cable, and there you go. Okay, thank you very much. I understand this is not easy to come and listen to a lecture after lunchtime. I'll try to make the lecture focused and short and fast, maybe, if I can. Listening to all the lectures in the morning, starting with Michael in the morning, the one great lecture, and then all the other lectures, I could see the passion people have, the presenters had for Agile. And that made me even more convinced that we should have something in the academics, in the university curriculum, about Agile. So, anyways, this my topic today basically is it's basically a preface of a research paper which I'm going to work on. It is the model I have taken from a research paper which was done by Dr. Klapp in one of the universities in Switzerland. I just got the right name from Michael. One of the University of Applied Sciences in British. Okay. So my model is basically based on the same research paper, in which he talks about how you can incorporate Agile in university curriculum. What I'm planning, in fact, is to follow the same pattern and the same model of that research paper and continue the research on this particular area, definitely in the universities in the United Arab Emirates. So that's basically the background of today's talk. And in fact, as it happens with the standard research, whenever you're starting the research paper or doing some research, you are open to inputs, and in fact, you need a lot of inputs. So I'm open to inputs and I'm open to a lot of criticism. If there is something which you'd like to talk about, please go ahead and tell me. And I will drop my email to you also. If there is something which you would like to comment about, please go ahead, because I need that in order to make a good research work. This very quickly, I will not bore you with what I have done in my academics. This is basically, I did my bachelor's and a master's from University of Karachi, Pakistan. And then I went to Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville for my MBA. These are some of these certifications which I did. In fact, I'm sitting for the Black Belt Six Sigma next Friday. So wish me good luck for that. Industry experience, I will not talk about everything. Repeat this information which you already talked about, but these are some of the companies I worked with after my graduation. After my MBA from SIUE, I started working with SBC in St. Louis, Missouri. Then I worked with T-Mobile in Chicago, ACCA, some private organizations in Pakistan, event management companies in Pakistan. And these are some of the universities I worked with. I started basically working with Southwestern Illinois College. In fact, I started with the SIUE as a teaching assistant, and then I worked as a part-timer at the Southwestern Illinois College in Illinois, USA. And then the International Islamic University, Malaysia, King Abdulaziz University, and some schools, and some of the military colleges in my country. And at present, I'm working as a lecturer of Management Information Systems at the College of Business and Economics, UAE University, which is in Penang. Okay, so this was a very quick recap. So as I told you, the focus of today, of this little talk is about my research that I'm going to do on incorporating the Agile in the university curriculum. Well, I can see here, I don't have to see it there. Let me very quickly read this, the paragraph which I have in blue. Several recent surveys show that Agile methodologies like Scrum, Extreme Programming, and Kanban have been successfully adopted by many companies for software development. However, the same surveys show that only few of the Agile practices are applied consequently and thoroughly. Now, this is to a great extent is basically due to the lack of skilled personnel, people who are expert in the Agile To me, the place where you produce these skilled personnel is primarily a university. That's basically the idea I have in my mind. And I did a lot of literature review on this particular topic, and lucky enough to find some research papers on that. Definitely a lot of case studies on that, in which the authors are talking about incorporating the Agile in the university curriculum. So this is going to be the focus of today's presentation, and in fact the focus of my research. Some of the universities which are offering courses in Agile, I was managed to find out about Webster University and University of Maryland, and there are some other universities also. But not many of those universities, and in the first place there are very few, those universities which are actually offering some courses in Agile. But it's very few of those universities which are actually offering a course particularly as a separate independent Agile course. Like for example, one of these universities, they are offering a course like Introduction to Agile. So it's very few. Most of the universities have incorporated the Agile methodology or Agile education, so to speak, whatever you name it, into some of their courses. For example, let's talk about the system analysis course, or the software project management course, or the programming course. So they have incorporated Agile in those courses. Now, not only that, but when they incorporate Agile in those courses, they are focusing on Agile as just another methodology, not as something on which they have to emphasize. So they're not emphasizing on Agile, they're just taking as, doing like a comparison between the planned approach or rigorous approach and the Agile approach. So it's not basically like a focus or emphasizing on Agile and promoting Agile as an independent, workable methodology. Now, when I talk about Agile, my idea is that I'm not talking about Agile solely from the software development podcast. Rather, to me, I talk about Agile in education, a more generalized project management area. So you can focus, of course, on in the software management, in the software development, but it's more about the general project management. That's what I'm focusing on. Okay, these are some of the surveys once again. If you look at this, pretty interesting. The knowledge of graduates, this is something which is kind of inducing me to actually do a research work about the Agile education in the universities in the UAE. If you look at the items, number one says computer science graduates have sufficient knowledge of Agile methodologies. If you look at column number one, the completely disagree is 5%. And agree is 30%. If you look at computer science undergraduates have sufficient knowledge of Agile methodologies, completely disagree 8%, agree 28%. The other survey is much more interesting. It says Agile as part of the computer science curriculum. Now, Agile development should be an integral part of the computer science curriculum. Completely disagree is 0%. That means everybody agrees, up to a certain extent, that it should be a part of the university curriculum. Disagree 5%, agree 49%, completely agrees 46%. And item number 2 says, Agile should not be taught at university. It is better learned on the job. This is one of the most famous, I would say, rhetoric, which people talk about when you are talking about teaching these kind of professional education in the university. They come with the same argument that the students are not able to grasp that, the students are not able to learn this, because this is something which the people learn at the corporate world when they actually start applying those concepts and practically learn. So if you look at this survey, it says 34% completely disagree and only 7% agree that Agile should not be taught at university. It is better learned on the job. This is some of the literature review. I'm not going to take you through all the literature review. These are some of the books, a couple of the books, and some case studies in which the author is basically talking about the Agile in the university curriculum. So let's pass that. Okay. Now, let me tell you what exactly we are doing at the UAE University. I should say, let me tell you what exactly I am doing at the UAE University. In our university, I'm in the College of Business and Economics, particularly with the Department of Management and Information Systems. So we have a bachelor's program, a BS degree in the Management and Information Systems. We have courses, the core courses, for example, like system analysis and design, programming, database development, project management, that's pretty much, and a lot of elective courses. Now, I had really a very hard time convincing the team, MIS team, that we should incorporate the Agile into the curriculum. Now, why it was pretty difficult to convince those people, because in the first place, many of those people have no idea whatsoever what Agile is all about. Now, if this is the case, how could you convince somebody that I want to bring something like Agile and you have no idea what Agile is all about? That means basically first you have to educate those people, or to train the parents. Educate this in the first place. I remember when I was in SIUE and I was taking all those courses in my MBA with a major in MIS, I never heard about Agile at that time. I'm talking about 2000 and 2002. And even in my bachelor's, I never heard about that. What was the reason? No idea. But even if you don't hear about Agile in the university, you know that is not something really important. So anyways, I had to convince them. I delivered a couple of lectures actually, and kind of like seminars where the faculty were there and the students were there, and we talked about Agile and what exactly it is. So somehow I was managed. I managed to convince my dean and my associate dean, and they allowed me to, so to speak, make a course in which I can incorporate Agile. Still, I'm working to have an independent course in which we can talk about Agile, like Introduction to Agile, maybe an Introduction to Scrum, or something like that. But at least I have the alacrity that I can incorporate Agile in the project management course next semester and the system analysis course. So this is at least a good news. Now, as I'm telling you, it's not basically that universities do not have a lot of Agile education, but the problem is basically that the educators or the professors, they are not aware of the Agile methodologies or Agile techniques. When it comes to me, the course which I'm going to teach in the next semester, System Analysis and Design, I have focused more generally Agile or more on Scrum. So I would say 60% of the course basically is focused on the Scrum. The students are, if you talk about their feedback, when I had the lecture and a little small workshop with the students and expose them with the Scrum terminologies and the Scrum methodology and the Scrum flow and the Scrum transparencies and Scrum accountability and all these processes, they're pretty happy, they're pretty excited about that. I also give them a course this semester in which they have to come up with an electronic business website in which they have to sell something actually. And by the end of the semester, they have to make a report on that. Now for that, we talk about accountability, so we cannot naturally have a daily stand-up meeting, but at least we have this term as a stand-up meeting, and we are going to have the stand-up meetings weekly. They gave a lecture on Agile in my university back in February. Was that February or?
Last month.
Last month. And many of the students attended that. And many students, especially from the project management, they were asking very interesting questions to analysts. And in fact, he wasn't expecting that the students are going to be that much involved in that and so much question would be asked. So it's a good sign. Again, the limitation is you don't have professors available with the required knowledge. So in my university, for example, in my department, so I might be the only person which has with the professional certifications in this particular area. Naturally, it's about how to run the Agile projects, how to manage the Agile projects, how to run the Agile teams, how to manage, how can we have transparency and accountability in these kind of things. And naturally, the Agile value is the most important thing. It's not only technical, it's the ethical point, which is more ingrained when you talk about Agile. That's why we have transparency. That's why we talk about courage in Agile. That's why we talk about flexibility in Agile. This is very quickly, as I told you, I want to have your inputs on that. This is the very comprehensive, very short course outline for the course which I have developed for the system analysis design for the next semester. So we have naturally the system development lifecycle and project management framework. SDLC is going to be there, and there has to be a comparison between the SDLC and the Agile. So as I told you, I'm going to focus on Scrum. It's a 16 weeks course, like a regular semester course. So we have to allocate times for workshops, assignments. We have to allocate time for projects. We have to allocate time for quizzes and midterms and finals. So it's taking all these things into consideration. So that's, I believe, Scrum. And beside that, I personally think that you cannot bombard the students right from the beginning with all those different agile methodologies.